Okay, yeah. I'm wearing a jean jacket and sweatpants. Why are we slamming doors? Anyways. So, we're here to discuss, the long walk. I'm so worried. I'm worried that I'm gonna, like, go on an entire tangent and then I'm gonna find out it wasn't recording. Like, it, like, ran out of storage, which is bullshit, because I don't want to analyze the entire movie, obviously, and I want to do a separate video where I compare the book and the movie. I'm reading the book for the third time because my mom's reading it, and I was like, let me reread it with you. I was watching The Long Walk the other night, high as fuck, and I just, like, started picking up on more things, analytically. I wanted to cover those points, but specifically the ending. It's mostly the ending. This is only for people who have seen The Long Walk. There are gonna be some spoilers, regarding the book, because I do reference the book. My notes are a mess. Okay, anyways, we have Ray Garrity and we have Peter McGreaves. I switch back and forth between their first and last names a lot because they also do. I don't know what makes me do that. So, like, guys, it fucking cut off. Like, I'm trying to fix the angle. Ah! Anyways, so, I don't even know. Anyways, we're gonna start. Number 1, Ray's monologue to Pete as they are approaching their last venture. He explains to Pete that he is not afraid of death anymore because this experience with the boys made him not afraid of death. He says he doesn't know why it calms him, but it does. And I believe that in that moment, he's accepting that he's going to die. And it makes a lot of sense when he says, I don't know why that calms me. This is what Pete taught Ray. He taught Ray that every moment matters. And to quote Pete, he says, whether we had 3 days, 3 years, or 3 decades, this moment matters. Ray brings that up again in his monologue where he's like, I'm not afraid of death anymore. He says every moment matters up until the end, and if you're lucky, you get to know how you spend those last moments. He's alluding to the fact that he's lucky that he knows that these are his last moments and that he gets to spend them with someone he loves and cares for. Is this still recording? You better still be fucking recording. I mean, good job, phone. Keep recording. I'm going mental. Mile 331. It's marked in the movie. Okay, so this is what I picked up on. This is a very small detail. I don't know if it was like director's like instruction or Cooper just being smart. So subtle. It's probably not even purposeful, but I saw it, so I'm giving it meaning. Ray kind of side-eyes Pete, almost as if to be like, you better still be walking. He's cautious. He's basically being like, I know you'll pull the same shit, so I need to make sure you're still walking. The moment before Pete decides to stop walking, they're both looking at each other. They're just staring at each other, you know, making eye contact as they walk. This is them cherishing their last moment together because they know it's their last moment together. And I think what's so beautiful about it is just the silence in it. Whatever, there's so many moments in the movie where it's beautiful, but it's not filled with just silence and just like looking into each other's eyes knowing that this is it. This is the end. Like, this is the end of your voyage. This is the end of your friendship. Whatever the fuck you want to call it. They both are planning on sacrificing themselves for each other. It's funny to me, not funny. How do I explain this? He's like, Pete is soaking in Ray's face. That is the best way I can describe it as a fucking writer. He is soaking in his face. He is remembering it, thinking that, okay, this is the last time I'm gonna see this boy, and I want to make the most of it, and I want to remember his face, and I want to remember this last moment. And then he stops walking. Boom. Ray said, "Nuh-uh, Pookie, get up." So then Ray is like, bullshit. He goes and picks Pete up, like forces him off his knees, and Pete's like, no, Ray, like you gotta do this for your mom. And Ray's like, no, like just walk with me a little longer. They use that phrase a lot, like just walk with me a little longer, like just spend some more time with me before we have to say goodbye. So when Ray's like, just walk a little longer, you know, he's saying like, you know, just a few moments together, but he's also, you know, planning to do the same shit that Pete just pulled. Ray's behind him, grabbing his shoulders, and he smiles at Pete, and the minute Pete looks away, Cooper Hoffman, you have innate talent, because the smile he gives Pete is very, you know, like, haha. But the minute Pete looks away, that smile drops. And then Ray just squeezes his shoulders, lets go. And Pete doesn't even notice. He just says, haha, you're a convincing motherfucker. Like, that smile that Ray gives to Pete before he lets go of him and, you know, sacrifices himself is a nervous smile as well, because he knows he's being deceitful, and it's the first time he's being deceitful to Pete. But it's out of selflessness. You know what I mean? Moving on. And this is what sucks. I mean, thank you, Stephen King, for making everyone fucking emotionally traumatized. But what sucks the most is, even though Ray says, like, I'm calm about death and I'm okay with it, he knows he's gonna die, and he knows he's gonna die thinking, not only am I, like, leaving Pete, because imagine leaving this comforting presence who has grounded you and saved you throughout this entire endeavor. So not only is it tough on Pete that he's losing Ray, it's tough on Ray that he has to leave Pete. He's about to die knowing he's about to die in the same way his dad did. I feel like a big part of understanding Ray's character is that he feels like he owes Pete. Ray sacrificing himself is almost as though, like, you have saved my life multiple times throughout this entire thing. Like, give me let me have this. Like, give me a chance to, like, save you. Ray ultimately thinks that... Okay, sorry, I'm getting off track. Ray gets shot when he stops walking. Obviously, you've seen the movie. Pete turns around, he says to Ray, like, what did you do? And Ray says, I can't see it, but you can. And that's why I love you. I love you, Pete. Ray, rewind. When Ray first tells Pete about his revenge plan against the Major for killing his father, Pete is like, he says, and I quote, killing someone is only easy for a certain kind of person. And Ray immediately, without hesitation, goes, I'll become that kind of person. And Pete says, that'd be fucking sad. The way David Johnson delivered that line deserves an Oscar in its fucking self. Back to the ending. I can't see it, but you can. Simplest terms, meaning, oh wow, it's almost as if my Adderall doesn't fucking work. Back to... Fuck me. Ayúdame, por favor. Okay. Pete says those kinds of people can't see the beauty in life. And Ray's like, what fucking beauty? And then Pete's like, the sky, the trees, the birds, everything. Like, you know what else is beautiful? Us. Because that's a very important moment in the film. It's a very staple moment in regards to the ending, because that's when Ray says, I can't see it, but you can. And even though it's fucking depressing, I feel like Ray thinks, like, I can't see the beauty in the world like you can, so therefore you're more worthy of living, you have more to give to this fucked up world than I do. I also want to bring up how in the book, Ray talks about feeling indebted to McGreaves. And this is in the book, it's more so, in the book, Ray calls Pete McGreaves, like, way more than he calls him Pete. So that's why, if I'm ever talking about the book, that's why I switched to their last names. In the book, Garrity explains how he feels indebted to McGreaves and owes him for how many times McGreaves has saved him. I don't know how many times Pete has saved Ray. Lost count. When I first saw the movie, I liked it, right? I thought it was a good movie, love a good thriller, love boyhood, brotherhood. I don't know why I'm so attached to it. No, Harley, I am not trans. When I saw it a second time with my sister and our friend Joseph, after Ray dies, Pete asks for his wish. He says, I want a carbine. Pete does think for a moment before he does say, I want a carbine. And the Major's like, you'll get one. And then Pete's like, nah, I want that one to give to my kids. Joseph was like, well, it was kind of disappointing that Pete killed the Major because he went on this whole rant to Ray about how he shouldn't. I disagree, and this is why, because Pete says to Ray, vengeance is not enough, and I suggest you choose love. And at the end, I believe Ray and Pete both choose love. Ray and Pete both choose love because Ray's sacrifice is obvious. I don't have to explain that. Ray feeling sorry to his mother. He says, I'm sorry, Mama, before he gets shot in the head. Depressing. So in the end, they both choose love, and this is why I have to explain Pete's reasoning. He hesitates before he asks for the carbine. When he finally gets the gun, he holds it up. And he's still hesitating. And he's crying about it, not only because Ray's dead, but because it's almost as though Pete doesn't see the beauty in life anymore. Because he said to Ray, you know what else is beautiful? Us. There is no more us. Pete thinks about it for a moment before he says, this is for Ray. He shoots the Major. Like, the Major falls backwards. Everyone on the street disappears, and nothing happens, and it's just Pete. So Pete's actions could be argued as vengeance because it's like, oh, you killed this person I love and care about. I'm gonna kill you. But it's more than that, because Pete never thought about killing the Major. It was only Ray, and it was because Ray had personal reasons for it. And at that point, Pete does have personal reasons, but he's not the type of person to use that personal reason to justify killing a man. So when he says this is for Ray, he's saying this is not for anything else other than that dead boy that's 10 feet away from me that I cared about and loved in the span of 5 days, 6 days. Pete's love for Ray is so strong because he says killing someone is only easy for a certain kind of person. And those types of people can't see the beauty in their life. And I think that when he's hesitating to kill the Major, he's hesitating because he's thinking this. He's thinking, you know? This is why Pete's sacrifice is purely made out of love and not vengeance and not anger. His love for Ray is so strong that he was willing to become that certain kind of person that doesn't see the beauty in life. So the fact that he carries out Ray's wish for him, and he essentially also sacrifices himself. Pete sacrifices himself because he chooses to become that kind of person, and it suggests that he doesn't see the beauty in life anymore, especially after everything he's experienced, and especially after Ray has been killed. Depressing, right? Very ambiguous, just like the ending of the book, even though it's different. I do believe Pete killed the Major. He was successful in killing the Major, but right after he kills the Major, Pete's killed. There is no fucking way you can kill someone with that much political influence and survive. So I think and that's why the minute Pete shoots the Major, everything disappears, because that's when they kill Pete. I feel like people miss this detail that the Major says to Pete when he's holding the gun to him. The Major says to Pete, there's no harm done. And then he says, not yet. Implying, like, if you do anything, there will be harm done to you. And then the movie basically ends with Pete looking down this beautifully shot road. It's like a cobble road with these gorgeous like golden street lights. So Pete like looks around, and then he looks at the road, and he continues walking this endless road forever. And it also alludes to the book's ending. In the book, Ray feels a hand on his shoulder, as if like to congratulate him for winning, but he shrugs it off. He doesn't like whatever. In the book, Ray sees like a dark figure beckoning him to keep walking. At this point in the book, Ray's lost it. Okay, he's not there anymore, and he even says in the book, in his thoughts, he says, even I'm gonna put it in first person. Even if I do go home, I'll never be home, because after all this, like, baby, that's not Ray anymore. That's a fucking shell of a person who is just traumatized, which mixes in with the allegory for war and how these veterans have they suffer PTSD, they suffer from drug addiction, and it's because of all these traumatizing events that the human brain can like barely handle. The book ends with Ray, who can barely walk at this point because he's so fucking exhausted and his feet are bare and bleeding. The last sentence of the book is like, he manages to break off into a run. So the movie ending is similar to the book ending, except it's Pete, but he's dead, and he's walking this endless road in this like purgatory. I don't fucking know. What I also loved, and I feel like a lot of people have noticed this, in the book, McGreaves and Garrity are asking Stebbins. Also, Stebbins is my favorite character in the book, and I'm part of a big majority. So McGreaves asks Stebbins, "You've seen the end of A Long Walk. How did it go?" Stebbins says there was 2 left. As like the 2 are dying, as the one is dying, or the one's already dead, and then the winner, Stebbins says he was telling the dead kid something, but we couldn't hear it. It immediately makes me think of when Pete goes to pick up Ray, and Ray is saying, "I can't see it, but you can." So I feel like it's kind of like an Easter egg almost, was thrown in from the book. The book versus the movie, it's the same story, but it's told from 2 different perspectives. The book is the movie has more of a humanist tone, because that's just Francis Lawrence, you know what I mean? They humanize the characters more. You don't see as much of Ray's descent into like paranoia and sleep-deprived delirium, and they kind of watered it down in the movie. I think with good reason. Like, even after I read the book, I still loved the movie, and I still love the movie. I do wish the movie was longer. David Johnson deserves an Oscar. Whoever rewrote the movie script from the book, I think did a great job. I feel like my only critique is that I wish we could have seen Ray and Pete more flawed, because they're very flawed in the book. Especially McGreaves. Like, in the movie, we see Ray helping Curly, who has a Charlie horse, and he's supporting him with his entire body and encouraging him, right? In the book, when Curly's like, "Oh, like the Charlie horse is loosening," Ray thinks, "Oh, like, fuck." Like, he's disappointed because he wants someone to bite a bullet before he does, basically, is what he says. He's not as caring and like the glue of the group as he's shown in the movie. He's still a good kid though in the book. Pete, he in the movie, a little instigator. He makes fun of you. He's a very like likable guy. You know what I mean? In the book, he's more sardonic. In the movie, Pete talks about how he lost his parents. He grew up alone. When he says to like Ray, like, "You've been walking for 5 days. I've been walking my whole life." In the book, he literally says, I read it today, he says to Ray, "I don't know why I'm doing this walk. I don't have a mother who's dying. I don't have a father who's dying. Like, I basically have everything I need, you know? I don't know why I'm doing this walk." in the movie, Pete explains how he got the scar on his face from picking a fight with the wrong person. But in the book, I guess I don't know specifically. Hold on. From his former girlfriend who cut him with a letter opener after he tried to Okay. It was rape. Yeah, so these characters are super fucking dark and flawed in the book, and they watered it the fuck down for the movie. I'm honestly grateful for it, that we get two different versions of the same story. Is there anything else I have to say? I feel like the only time we really see Ray's crazy, like, delirium come through is in the incline scene in the movie. When he, like, accuses Pete and he's like, shut up, like, I know you're just like the rest of them. I know you want me to get my ticket, shit like that. He basically just accuses him of being like, you don't care about me, you want me dead. And Cooper Hoffman, mwah, chef's kiss, because he's yelling at Pete and he's, like, smiling and, like, accusing him, and he's coming off as angry. And in the movie, Pete is emotionally intelligent to decipher that I'm not taking this personally. This kid is sleep deprived. He's scared. He is 10 seconds away from getting a bullet in the head, and they're about to walk up this fucking hill where you have to walk 2 times as fast. And this is mile 35. What does Ray say to him before he walks away? Stop pretending like you don't want to see me with a fucking bullet in the back of my head. And he yells it at Pete. But it's so obvious that he's not yelling it out of anger. I have to walk 3 fucking hours without fucking up, and if I fuck up, I'm gonna get a bullet in the head. I went on a tangent and didn't get to explain why I was a mwah, chef's kiss for Cooper Hoffman. The reason why I said that is because his intent as an actor was very clear in that scene. Like, yes, you're shouting at someone and coming across as angry, but it's so very clear that you're horrified inside. He showcased that perfectly. Okay, bye. Like, why do you talk so much, bitch? Jesus. But yeah, I'm ending it here, because I can make a whole other video explaining the entire fucking story. Ow, ow.